Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the Panzer Vulpaphyla. Now, companions were reworked about 2 months ago, and that's why we've been going through a lot of the companions in the game. And we're going to continue to get through the companions until we're done with all of them. I think all we have left are the other Vulpaphylas, the Moa, and Sentinels. I'm pretty sure that's all we have left. So I think we're about halfway done now. We have the top commenter of the last video, Pony Chad. And the first commenter of the last video, Montero U. And we have our recent supporters of Johnny, Eddie, and Lolvio. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, let's go into the Panzer Vulpaphyla here. We have Cerberus, our little panzer. Now, as I've said with the other companions, they need to serve a purpose. They need to have some kind of a niche. Otherwise, there's no reason to be using that specific pet. You would just use another pet that actually has a purpose. Well, luckily for the Panzer Vulpaphyla, he serves an amazing purpose, and in fact, he's going to be a staple in a lot of your Warframe builds because of it. He is the best viral priming pet in the entire game. He does it very easily and very well. Now, also, with the inclusion of claws, because like 2 months ago, they put these in now where the normal companions actually have like a weapon, so they can put mods in those slots. This makes him even better because with the Bell Ringer Magnetic Strike combo, now he is also spreading puncture and magnetic as well. So not only is he the best viral spreader, but he's a decent status spreader as well because of the Magnetic Strike Bell Ringer combo. And also, this is not specific to the Panzer Vulpaphyla, but Vulpaphylas in general, so all three of them can do this, is that they give you extra shield gates, which is really good, especially for shield gaining Warframes. So, okay, let's go into the Panzer Vulpaphyla here. And now the Vulpaphyla specific mod for all three Vulpaphylas is called Martyr Symbiosis. This is what's going to be giving you extra shield gates. And then Panzer Vulpaphyla has two specific mods, and that is Viral Quills and Panzer Devolution. So I want to start by explaining Martyr Symbiosis, because what is said on the mod is only a very small amount of what this actually does. So let's read the mod first. Drains and stores 20 health from corpses within 25 meters, up to 40% of your health, and if your health falls below 10%, the companion downs itself to heal you. Okay, so he sacrifices himself to heal you back up to 40%. Okay, that sounds kind of cool. But there's a lot more to this. So not only does he give you that 40% health, but he also gives you a 1 second invulnerability, which is really powerful, especially if you weren't building for health. You know, 40% health on a shield gating Warframe is not really anything, but that 1 second of invulnerability is. So that's very, very powerful. Now let's add even more things to this that it doesn't say on the mod, and that is if the Panzer Vulpaphyla was invulnerable himself during the time where he triggered Martyr Symbiosis, he will not sacrifice himself, but you'll still get the positive effect out of this, which means he's still alive, which means that he can trigger Martyr Symbiosis again and again and again, as long as he has invulnerability. So that's another like really powerful combo with this. So what can give your Panzer Vulpaphyla invulnerability? Let's go over that real quick. So Tech Assault is one of the things. Tech Assault can give your Panzer Vulpaphyla 4 seconds of immunity, where he can cast Martyr Symbiosis multiple times during that time. The other thing is that Overguard, so any way you can get Overguard, anytime it breaks, you or your pet will get 0.5 seconds of invulnerability. So during that time, he's technically invulnerable and he won't sacrifice himself with Martyr Symbiosis. And then the other way is a mod called Loyal Companion. This is the longest invulnerability, which is a 10-second invuln. Now, the reason it doesn't make it on the build, this is very close to being on the build. Loyal Companion is very close. Like if there was any companion that made use of this Dookie mod, it would be Panzer Vulpaphyla. And it's actually really damn close to being on the build. If you had a flex slot, or if you didn't want to use Primed Animal Instinct, this is on the build right here. Finally, we get a use for this stupid thing. But this gives 10 seconds of invulnerability. The only negative to Loyal Companion is it is a 60-second cooldown. So that's like the one like nail in the coffin for Loyal Companion. That 60-second cooldown. So, and then of course, there's probably Warframe specific invulnerabilities too. So, if you could think of any Warframe specific invulnerabilities that you can give your pet, let me know, because that would be another way. Loki, I'm thinking of Loki actually off the top of my head here. Can you do the switch teleport with your pet? I'm not sure, but if you could, Loki gives the longest invulnerability in the entire game if he's built out correctly, with a 24-second invulnerability. Oh my goodness. Again, I don't know if you can switch teleport with your pet or not, though. Maybe I should. I play Loki a lot too. I don't know that one though. Okay. So that's Martyr Symbiosis. Let's go over Viral Quills and Panzer Devolution next. So before we go over these, though, it's important to know that Viral Quills happens when your Panzer is alive. And then when your Panzer is dead, Panzer Devolution happens. So they're both quills they're both abilities that shoot out quills. But this will shoot out quills when he's alive, and this shoots out quills when he's dead. Okay, so Viral Quills. You're going to launch 6 quills at enemies within 20 meters. What it doesn't say is that it's 6 quills every 4 seconds. Each dealing 60 viral damage with 40 status chance. If the target is affected by a viral status, a spore is added. 4-second cooldown. Oh yeah, it does say it at the end there. Okay. So really good. The other interesting thing about this is that this can also spread applied statuses. So not the forced procs, like it's not going to be spreading like the Bell Ringer Magnetic Strike combo, but if you put the Heat Claw on your dude, he's going to be putting heat on with it as well. Or the Shocking one, he'll be spreading Shocking. So this could also be a combo with Archon Stretch if you put Shocking Claws on. And the spores are similar to Sarin spores, where they're going to be put on the enemies, and they're gonna start spreading out as well. So there's a 15-meter spread radius, and enemies can have 10 spores per enemy. Okay, let's go over Panzer Devolution. So this makes it where when your Panzer dies, he turns into a sentinel over your shoulder, and he continues to shoot out these quills and spread spores. However, it's a little bit of a neutered form to Viral Quills, because this one is 3 quills every 5 seconds. So if you remember, Viral Quills was 6 quills every 4 seconds. This one is 3 quills every 5. So a lot less quills. But at least he's doing something while he's down. So he becomes a little sentinel, and he starts doing this. And then he regains his true form after 30 seconds. Okay. Something that's a little bit interesting, though, about these 2 different quills, because you would think they're the same, right? They're quills that do viral damage. They must be the same. The spores are the same. They're not. So when he's alive and he's spreading these quills with these spores, if he dies and he becomes that little sentinel through Panzer Devolution, the spores that were spread through viral quills become inactive, and he has to start spreading new ones through Panzer Devolution. And similarly, when he comes back alive, it's the same way, where these ones become inactive and he has to start spreading new ones through viral quills. Okay, so, you do want him to try to stay alive, because viral quills are going to be a lot stronger than Panzer Devolution quills. But at least it gives him something to do while he's dead. Okay, and I think that is... Oh, and the Panzer Devolution quills cannot spread applied statuses. That's the other thing, too. Alrighty, I think that is the specific mods that we went over. Done. So now we can go over the rest of the build here. So we already went over Martyr Symbiosis. We have Tech Assault, which is the combo with Martyr Symbiosis, which is Kavat has a 60% chance to ignore lethal damage and become immune for 4 seconds. Viral Quills we already went over. Panzer Devolution we already went over. Next we have Primed Animal Instinct. Primal Animal Instinct. Primed Animal Instinct. This is going to give you loot radar and enemy radar. Now, my opinion is that this is mandatory. I always have Primed Animal Instinct and Fetch on every single companion build. And so I'm going to stay with it. However, there are a lot of people that don't run with Primed Animal Instinct, so you could consider taking this off. I won't be doing it myself. I'll be keeping this on. But if you're one of those people, you could consider this a flex slot and put something else here. Fetch you do want to keep on. This is going to be your thing that scoops your loot up for you. It's basically vacuum except for companions. And then we have Contagious Bond is when your companion kills an enemy afflicted with a status effect, 50% of the status effect spreads to other enemies within 9 meters, max 100 stacks. So this is a really good status spreader. Your dude is going to be spreading a crap load of viral already, so like he doesn't really need help spreading the viral, but he's also going to be spreading a lot of puncture and magnetic, and so this will help spread puncture and magnetic around Contagious Bond. So and also whatever applied status effect you put on your thing there. Duplex Bond is another good status spreader. So Companion will clone itself each time you expend 100 energy, up to 3 clones. Clones live 30 seconds and can't use abilities, and their kills have a 50% chance of dropping energy orbs. So again, you get these little clones, they're running around, they're spreading statuses, they're whacking things. So again, really good status spreader, not necessarily for viral because they can't use those abilities, but they can spread the other things. And they also have that added effect where 50% chance if they kill something that you get an energy orb. So Duplex Bond and Contagious Bond, just really solid status spreaders. Okay, and now in the next 2 slots here, we have 2 amazing mods. However, these mods are flex slots because there are some niche situations where you would not use them. So Tenacious Bond is an absolutely crazy mod. Headshot kills reduce companion recovery timer by 3 seconds. That's kind of okay. If the companion's critical chance is over 50%, then you gained 1.2 times final critical damage multiplier. So this is a 1.2 crit damage for your Warframe on your pet, which is really friggin' powerful. Now, why wouldn't you use this? Well, maybe you are an ability spamming Warframe that gets all of your kills through ability spamming, and it doesn't take crit damage into account. So if that's the case, then you wouldn't need Tenacious Bond. So this could technically be a flex slot in that specific niche case. Synth Deconstruct. Enemies injured by the companions have 25% chance to drop a health orb when killed. This combos incredibly well with the Warframe mod Equilibrium. And this also is useful if you just need some extra health. Maybe you're struggling, maybe you just need a little bit of extra health orbs, and so this is really powerful for that. But if you didn't need any of those 2 things, if you weren't using Equilibrium, or if you didn't need extra health, then Synth Deconstruct is another one that you can consider taking off. So these are both really good mods, but if for some reason, like your build didn't need those things, you can consider those flex slots. The other one you can consider a flex slot too, like I said, Primed Animal Instinct. I personally don't consider this a flex slot, but I know a lot of people don't run with Primed Animal Instinct, so you could technically consider this a flex slot. Now I want to go over mods that could go into those 3 flex slots. And the first one that we kind of went over already, Loyal Companion, that's right. Who is a Dookie mod, but if this Dookie mod had any place, it would be on the Panzer Vulpaphyla. Or actually any of the Vulpaphylas, because it combos with Mortar Symbiosis, which is for any of the Vulpaphylas. So, Loyal Companion, when your health falls below 35%, you gain 75% damage reduction for 10 seconds. And your companion becomes invincible and draws fire to itself for 10 seconds. It's a lot of invulnerability time there. And during that invulnerability time, he can keep casting Mortar Symbiosis on you and give you more shield gates. Again, it's not technically a shield gate, it's a 1 second invul. I'm just going to refer to it as shield gates for some reason. Now, the only caveat to this with Loyal Companion, 60-second cooldown. That's the only bad thing. You could make the argument, though, where, well, you shouldn't be going down every 60 seconds. So, like, if you're going down more than once every 60 seconds, you have an issue. So, you could that's a valid argument. So that could be a reason why it makes it on the build. But every 60 seconds is kind of a long cooldown. So kind of up to you there. Kind of up to you if you want to put Loyal Companion on here. All right. Next one here, we're going to have Hastened Deflection. Okay. So your pet needs to stay alive. He stays alive through a few different things. So when he goes down, or when his shield gets reduced down to 0, he gets a 1.4 second shield gate. And then he also has the survivability through Tech Assault, where sometimes when he receives lethal damage, he becomes immune. So he has multiple ways to kind of have these like immunity phases, but Hasten Deflection will make it so that your shield recharges quicker, and he'll be ready to get that full shield gate quicker. So maybe this triggers and then Tech Assault triggers, and while he's immune through Tech Assault, this will be making his shield charge up in time for him to be ready to shield gate again. So that's the thinking behind Hasten Deflection, is that this can help him with his shield gate potential. And then finally, our third one that can make it, Mystic Bond. So after your companion uses abilities with cooldowns 5 times, you may cast a Warframe ability without expending energy. So this will trigger pretty often, so you'll be able to cast abilities for free very often. Now, there is one important thing about this, a very dangerous thing. If you are a shield gating Warframe, you may not want to use Mystic Bond. So shield gating Warframes typically use Brief Respite or the Augur mods to give themselves shield when they spend energy. Well, this makes your abilities free, and so you're not spending energy and you're not getting shields back. So why did I just do that? I'm being a little bit spastastic on my button pressing today. So in that particular case, you might not want to use Mystic Bond. If you're a shield gator using Brief Respite or the Augur mods to stay alive, do not use Mystic Bond. But if not, this is a really good option to just get some free casts. So that's how you build out the Panzer Vulpaphyla. Those are the 3 options for those flex slots. And we'll go over the Panzer Claws next here. Okay, and we're going to start with the posture. There are 2 good options. So Assassin posture is pretty much like the go-to for every companion that has claws, because it is an amazing combo with the Bell Ringer Magnetic Strike combo. And it's because Assassin posture makes him specifically target the Eximuses. Eximuses have Overguard. Magnetic procs do more damage to Overguard. It makes sense to have him specifically target those overguarded enemies. However, Kavats and Vulpaphylas have a specific mod called Swipe. Swipe makes Kavats and Vulpaphylas, instead of hitting 1 dude at a time with their regular attack, they can hit up to 5 dudes at a time as long as they're in range. Okay, so 5 dudes at a time. Well, that combos really well with Protector posture, because Protector posture puts on 4 forced puncture procs. So instead of having 4 forced puncture procs on 1 dude at a time, you can actually have 4 forced puncture procs on 5 dudes at a time. Now you might be asking, well, what does 4 puncture procs do? 4 puncture procs equal 20% final critical chance. So there's going to be these little 20% final critical chance buffs all over the place. In fact, they'll probably cap out at 5 stacks eventually. So you have these like little 25% chance final critical chance buffs all over the place. And so this is really, really powerful when you're using Swipe with Kavats and Vulpaphylas. However, Assassin posture remains really good as well. So you have to make that consideration yourself. You could use Protector posture for those final critical buffs, or you can use Assassin posture for just a little bit more of a consistent time to killing those Eximuses. Both really good. On Kavats and Vulpaphylas, I'm personally always using Protector posture, but that's really up to you. All right, we have Bite here for critical chance of critical damage. We have Maul for melee damage. We have Precision Conditioning for melee damage, and it converts our physical damage to slash. In the Claw slot, there's 2 options. If you want max damage, it's going to be Burning Claws, which is going to be 330 heat, 330 status chance, and it converts all elements to heat damage. Shocking Claws is not really too far off. It's actually pretty decent for damage as well. Not as good as Burning Claws, especially if you're using Assassin posture, because those dudes are mostly going to have armor, so Burning Claws would be really good against them. But Shocking Claws is still pretty decent for damage, and it combos with Archon Stretch. So if you wanted to add another combo into your build, you could consider using Shocking Claws, and then anytime he shoots out his quills, it's going to apply those statuses, and it's going to trigger Archon Stretch. So up to you there. I usually go with Burning Claws, but if I wanted to trigger Archon Stretch, I would go with Shocking Claws. Okay, let's go to the bottom row here. We have Hunter Synergy next, plus 30% primary weapon critical chance added to your companion. So this is based on your primary weapon's critical chance. If you're using a primary weapon with garbage critical chance, like maybe like 5 or 10%, you probably don't want to use Hunter Synergy. But I'm using a weapon that's kind of like in the middle. I'm using the Grokata, which isn't great in critical chance, but it's still worth using. So if you have a middle of the ground weapon, it's still worth using Hunter Synergy, and it only gets better if it's even better, right? Maybe if you're using the Dread, has a crazy critical chance, this is even better. But with a Grokata, you see I'm sitting at 130%. So again, though, if you had a weapon that was complete garbage in critical chance, maybe you're using the Sporothrix, then maybe you wouldn't want to use Hunter Synergy. You would use something else, which would be either Cull the Weak or the status damage one. Where the hell is the status damage one? Probably right in front of my face. Immunity resistance. Yeah, it's either Cull the Weak or immunity resistance if you were using a bad critical chance weapon. Swipe, we already went over. And then finally, we get to the Bellringer Magnetic Strike combo. So Bellringer is going to be melee attacks, knock down enemies, and apply 4 impact status effects. Those are forced impacts. And then Magnetic Strike is 100% chance to apply a magnetic proc when inflicting an impact status effect. So those 4 impacts will turn into 4 magnetics. And again, that's forced magnetics. So that is how you build out Panzer Claws. Again, there's three considerations to think of. You can use Assassin or Protector Posture. You can use Burning Claws or Shocking Claws if you want to trigger Archon Stretch. And also consider the critical chance of your primary weapon. If it's absolutely garbage, maybe don't use Hunter Synergy. All right. Let's go into the simulacrum. I'm just going to show off the Panzer's abilities here.
You are a true hunter. Where would the sanctuary be without you?
And I also want to show off that he can trigger Archon Stretch. I mean, that's not specific to the Panzer. Any pet, as long as they're doing an ability that hits an enemy, they can trigger Archon Stretch. And as long as they have electric on their weapon, I should say. So let me make sure I think I put Burning Claws back on. Let me put Shocking Claws back on. Make sure we're triggering Archon Stretch here. Yeah, I put Burning Claws back on. So we're going to go to Shocking Claws. And now his abilities will be able to trigger Archon Stretch. And if you don't know, Archon Stretch just gives me a little bit more energy. So, and we'll show his abilities off too, where he spreads his little spores. Boop, he shoots his quills out. You see they're going to have some viral procs on them. He's going to whack them and put puncture and magnetic procs as well. And those spores, they're a little bit hard to see. Maybe I should have chose a better energy color for them. I'm sorry about that. But those spores, you can shoot them and spread them. Kind of like sarin spores. You know, a little bit different, but similar to those sarin spores. And yeah, that's how it works. And you can see in the top right, Archon Stretch just triggered. I have 2 stacks of it. I've only ever seen 2 stacks max from pet abilities. Maybe that's the cap on it. I don't use Archon Stretch a lot. And if I do use Archon Stretch, it's always just with pets. So I don't know if it normally can get to over 2 stacks, like if you're using it on a Warframe or not. But with pets, I've only ever seen 2 stacks. Even though, like this dude, you know, he's shooting out 6 quills, so you would expect more than 2. So maybe it's just like hard-coded, like 2 is the max. So, yeah, that's what he does. He's a really, really good viral spreader. Like, all these dudes are at 10. That guy's at 8, 9, 10. He's at 8 now. So, yeah, that's what little Panzer Vulpaphyla does. Let's go back to the order here. Really good pet. He's going to be the staple in a lot of your builds. Shield gating Warframes, that Martyr Symbiosis, ooh, that is like chef's kiss for any kind of shield gating Warframe. And you get the viral spreading out of it too, which is crazy. So, yeah, that's the Panzer Vulpaphyla. If you liked the video, consider giving it a like. If you haven't subbed yet, consider subbing or tell me what I can do to earn your sub. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. All right, bye.